Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors, your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. Glad to hear this Tuesday morning. We got a big show lined up. But first, our weather is always brought to us by Haney Technical Center at the corner of Baldwin and Highway 7 and 7. So we got a tickle looking at the temperature today. It's going to be a high of 78 and a low of 69. Not much variance in that degrees. That's unusual, really, when it gets below 10 degrees change there. But it's on a 9-degree change for the whole day. So that's interesting to me. I always like to consider myself an amateur meteorologist. Water temperature, 73 degrees. It's gone down as low as it's been since the springtime, 73. So it started that drop that we talked about, the October drop I called it. So it started it, just waited till November, just a little bit later this time. All right, let's take a look at river readings brought to us by Watson's Landing Marina and Dry Storage, about 2 minutes east of Harrison Avenue, right there on Business Highway 98. Looking at Apalachicola, it was high, but it dropped down. It's below 10 foot. In fact, it's way below 10 foot at 9.9, and it looks good though, leveling off for the weekend already. Choctawhatchee at Caryville, we see how high it got, but it's down to 9.2, so both rivers are pretty close, but they're still high. 9 foot is still high on the river, but it's going to be, I know there's some good catfishing over there now. I just know there is on both rivers, so y'all send some pictures and enjoy eating those catfish. Our tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn Funeral Home and Cemetery. Their motto is when carrying counts. And we're looking at this week's tide. We have a really good situation. High tide at 12:05 days now, November the 17th. Good strong tides for the rest of the week. Now Saturday don't look too good, but today a high tide right around midnight and low this morning around 11 o'clock. Still got around 2 foot range right there. And our marine forecast looks like it's coming out of east, southeast, pretty strong at 15 to 25. So be careful. I'm sure they have some small craft advisors in some areas, so be careful if you get on the water today. All right, that takes care of the weather. We'll be right back. All right, folks, welcome back. Glad you're with us this morning. Let's go ahead and get a sort of an early week report from our good friends down in Caryville at Sea Quarters Marina. On the phone, I have Captain Kim with us. Good morning, Captain Kim.
Good morning, Mr. Chester.
How are you doing today?
We're doing great. We're starting to load up at the fuel dock, and the sun's peeking out. It's going to be a real nice day.
I hear that. Now, give us a pretty good, quick fishing report from down your way.
Well, we've got the commercial guys been going out doing real well, snapper and grouper, and they're not too far out. I know most of us can't catch the snapper and keep them, but they've been doing real good with that.
Now, listen, you tell me, I don't mean to interrupt you, but you said Miller's been going out with those boys?
Yes, Millard went out with Captain Randy, and they had a good time.
I bet Millard is a good deckhand. I can see him right now. He's a good deckhand.
Yes, he is.
All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
You're all right. I've got a gentleman staying with us this month, and he's out there trying to round up some sea bass. They're not quite grouping up like they will be here in another week or two, but he's caught a couple here and there. We got lucky.
All right. And what about the trout and redfish?
Those are still happening right here in the mouth of the river and just outside of it towards Lanark. They've been doing real good with frozen shrimp and fancy spoons. Nice gold spoons have been working good.
It's hard to beat those gold spoons, I tell you.
It sure is.
Any freshwater fishing going on? I know it's been high.
Yeah, they're doing real good up the river. The brim are huge, pan-sized brim. They've been real happy with that, catching their limit just right up the river here. And we've got a couple lakes around us that they've been hitting, so they've been real happy catching the big brim.
Well, that sounds good. I want to get out there and get on a rocking chair and sit on that front porch pretty soon. So it's good to hear from you. Okay.
Look forward to seeing you.
All right, take care. Thank you.
You betcha. Have a good week.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, that's our good sponsors, good friends down at Sea Quarters Marina. Let's get into some pictures. We've got all kind of stuff to show you. Let's see. I want to get these pictures set up. I've got. I don't know if I showed you this, Jeff. Have I showed this? I have showed it. Okay, we'll move on then. That was the one on the ocean. I'll talk to my class. We're doing a little archery unit. I just want to talk about Fred Bear. To me, he was my inspiration as a young man watching or hearing about him. We didn't have a lot of things about it. Fred Bear and archery just goes hand in hand, and he was I tell my students about him and talk about his exploits and all as an archer, but there he is there. Of course, he's passed on now, but here's some of his early pictures. You can see right now, that's what made him so famous, was a huge game and all, but he was such a good archer. He was left-handed. A lot of people don't realize he was left-handed, but I just showing these pictures to my class, and I talk about the anchor point. That's where your hand touches your face, and that's one of the most critical things in archery. You have the same anchor point every time. So if you work with any young people, or if you're shooting yourself, remember the anchor point. Of course, this is one of the most legendary pictures he has. He shot this Alaskan brown bear with his bow, with that bow right there. And nothing fancy, he just made a great shot there, and that was what made him famous. And then I go into some modern day archery and talk about anchor points. This is the USA Olympic team and some of the shooters on it, but that's the one that put their hand right. These shooters will shoot through the target and all, and they put their hand right up under their chin, and the string usually goes right across the middle of their nose, and that's their shooting style. But there are a couple different shooting styles, but you can see how important it is. Elbow up, arm straight out. And of course, this lady here is shooting with a trigger release right there, and here's another. From Great Britain, and they're good archers. And China had won the Olympics the last couple of years, China and Korea. Okay, now, but anyway, talk more about archery. I just want to share that with you real quick. Redfish, Stephen Elliott right here, multi-spotted redfish. Nice one there. Got an announcement here. Actually, this is tonight now, northeastern Gulf of Mexico. This is put on right up here at Gulf Coast at the Gibson Lecture Hall, a nice lecture talking about the let me see if we can turn it this way. I can read it better. Citizen Science Lecture Series, and they're talking about the distribution of the coastal sharks and all. If you're interested in sharks, this is going to start. Actually, it's going to start at 6 o'clock tonight. Only 1 hour, 6 to 7, and they'll have Dana Bethea. We'll be talking about all the different species of sharks found right here in the area, and that's open to the public. Okay, free and open to the public. Every day, thousands of innocent plants are killed by vegetarians. Help end the violence. Eat bacon. I know some of y'all are eating it right now. All right, good friend of ours sent this in. Wade Hazelip. This coming weekend now, the 42nd annual Farm City Festival. It's going to be at the Jackson County Ag Center right there on Highway 90 West. It's going to be this Friday and this Saturday, and different things. We've got 10 a.m., 2 a.m. Friday be the Antique Tractor Drive. And then it's moving on to Saturday. We've got all kinds of things going on Friday. And then Saturday from 9 o'clock is the Antique Tractor Pull. That's Saturday. You can call. There's some phone numbers there you can call if you're interested in vendors. Be vending. Food vendors are welcome. Swap meet Saturday. So that's call Mandy Griffin there at 482-8060. That's the 42nd annual Farm City Festival. Okay. Dove shooting. Dove opened back up, and man, we got some good pictures. Check out Clay Patrick and the dog Charlie. They had a good shoot up there. Nice job, Clay. Now he didn't shoot all these. The limit 15 apiece, so there were several hunters out in the field. But I know Saturday was a pretty day to dove hunt. Okay. I just had nothing to do with outdoor ed. My wife loves Law and Order SUV and Melissa Hargity, and that's her as a baby. And her mother was Jane Mansfield. Just a little trivia there. And this is right before Jane was life was taken in a wreck over in Mississippi. As a kid, I was just fascinated with that story. It had nothing to do. This has something to do with outdoor. This is at a beach house. This a coyote sleeping in the flower bed. Y'all see the pine straw and the shrubbery right there? That's right next to their back porch, and just sleeping there. I'm telling you, these coyotes are very adaptable. By this time next year, that coyote will be sitting in the living room watching TV with them if you let them. So be aware of those special little animals and all. They certainly will take them out. Let's see. I'm going to run out of time. I'm going to. I think we'll go ahead, Jeff, and take a break. And I've got 2 or 3 other things to talk about on this. Let's go and take a break now. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Glad you're with us. Got a couple more pictures now. This one here is sort of an ugly picture of could have been a bad situation, but this happens more times than we want to admit. Dove hunting out in the dove field. Matt Fender had this, and Matt got accidentally shot by another hunter. It was just it wasn't serious, wasn't bad. Matt's doing fine. He's okay, but and basically what happens on this, and they talked about it. 2 things. You're shooting low and usually an inexperienced hunter on these dove fields. So when you get in a dove shoot, make sure everybody spreads out. even on those inexperienced hunters, try to have an experienced hunter with them and coach them through it, especially the first couple of trips out in Duffield, especially young people. They know no better than to follow that dove. That dove's coming in, they're going to just shoot. And we've had close calls a lot of times. And Matt's doing okay though, and I appreciate him sharing that picture. Word to the wise there. Let's end on a good one here. How about our buddy Michael Coward the other afternoon? I believe that was Sunday afternoon. Great. They had a great day fishing. That's a pretty fish right there. Good job, Michael Coward. Now I want to talk about a little bit about the. I've got it on here. The FWC meeting. That's going to be tomorrow. It's a big meeting. It's going to be at the Majestic Beach Resort. That's at 10901 Front Beach Road. And they're going to open tomorrow at 8:30. I want to go a little bit through the agenda and just give you an idea of what's coming on. The meeting, first part of all these meetings is the preliminaries, the prayer and the pledge and all kind of, and then they're going to talk about the dwarf seahorse. And I don't know if you want to have much input on the dwarf seahorse, but that's important in certain areas of the state. Also, 5 and 6, Articles 5, and what they do, I like the way they do it. They just number 1 through 20. Okay, let's discuss item number 1. Let's discuss item number 2, just in order. Sometimes it's 4 or 5 minutes, sometimes an hour or so. So I want to go. I wrote down a couple that I think you and my viewing audience would be interested in. Number 5 and 6. Number 5, just innovations in marine fisheries management. It's a statewide workshop. What they do, they get feedback from their staff on local fishery. They've had 19 public hearings throughout the state on fisheries management. So that's the staff have now put together all the feedback from those 19 meetings. Now they're going to present it to the commission. So that would be interesting. Okay, that's item number 5, and item number 6 now is going to be talking about the red snapper regional management. That's going to be a hot item. That might be the most important item on the agenda as far as the management. They're talking about they're getting together with other states, having different states manage their own red snapper, and we might be going in that direction. I'm not on the inside. I'm just looking at this stuff from reports. So that would be number 5 and 6 would be very interesting. And a little bit about mutton snapper. So, and then going down, item number 12 is a public comment area. This is all on Wednesdays. On public comment, you can talk about anything that was not on the agenda. So that's a good opportunity there, the public comment area. That's item number 12. Then the next day on Thursday, they're going to call to order again at 8:30, some prelims and recognitions. And item number 17, they're going to talk about, it's called the Florida Youth Conservation Center Network update, and there's like 19 of these across the state, and they're going to try to put one here in the Bay County, in the Northwest region, some youth management plans. So that would be interesting. I would like to see that. And then they'll try to adjourn on tomorrow, Thursday around noon or afternoon or something. So that's the lineup for that. So that's going to be interesting to see what all comes from that. And speaking of FWC, let me quickly go over the dates of the hunter safety. Now, we've already finished one. We had 3 coming up here in the Panhandle. Calhoun County just had theirs this past Saturday. But next, this coming weekend in Bay County, November 20th, that's Friday night, they're going to have the classroom section, and then Saturday morning at the range will be the hunting. Then Gulf County will be December the 6th. Okay, December the 6th will be Gulf County. All right, so I want to make sure you understand that. And also, duck season is coming in. I have a lot of stuff on ducks and all. Duck season just fascinating to me, and it's something I've enjoyed as a kid. I don't get to go as much as I used to. It seems like I've started doing outdoor show. I do less fishing and hunting than I did before the show because of the time constraints. But I certainly, duck hunting is certainly special. It opens up this weekend, and when you talk about ducks, I'm gonna share this with my class. It's funny how I like to share stuff with my class and share with you, but there are 2 types of ducks. There are 2 categories. One's called dabblers and one's called divers. And they're both ducks, and they have just different mannerisms, different way they feed and all. And I've studied them over the years and observed them in the woods and on the water, and they're fascinating. And they're migratory, of course. And of course they have Ducks Unlimited, a big organization, sort of keeps up with them. So what I want to do, I want to share a couple of these picture ducks I'd like for you to understand. You don't have to be a hunter to appreciate ducks. A lot of times, someone just posted yesterday, they saw over at Santa Rosa Beach area off 30A. They were walking the beach and saw some ducks flying down. And they knew they were enough of a duck person knew they were migrating, just big flock of them. And I love to see that V formation. And of course we have Canadian geese here too. So all kind of good things. So what I want to do is just show you some basic pictures of ducks. So first of all, I'm going to talk about what's called dabblers. Now, dabblers are first, they're better to eat than the divers. And stop and think about why they are. Dabblers, they're going to sort of dabble around on like a wood duck. They're going to go walk around. They're going to eat acorns and a little bit of duckweed and a little bit of insects. And that's a fairly healthy diet. Therefore, the meat itself tastes better because of the diet. And but now on the divers, they're not very good to eat unless you're really hungry. A diver actually, they'll dive down to the bottom and they're going to eat something aquatic, something in the water like little minnows or some clams or some kind of other crustacean. So fish-eating duck, that meat just don't taste good. So that's the reason, two categories there. So I'll tell you what, before we get to the pictures, let's go ahead and I want to look at our fish and game forecast. Well, we'll do that too. Let's go and we're at a breaking point now. I got a lot of pictures to show you, so we're at a breaking point now. Let's take our break and we'll be right back. Now, welcome back. Let's look at our fishing game time today, brought to us by Mark Coward of Counts Realty. If you headed on the water or back into the woods, here's some good time. We're going to have some activity. I'm just going to hold it up right here this morning. I still got some more pictures. This morning, 410 to 610. We just passed that. We're right in the tail end of it, and this afternoon right here is going to be 436 to 636. Little 2-hour blocks. And again, it's variable according to the pressure, the wind, and the water temperature, and all kinds of different things. But basically, those feeding times they're very, very close. I can promise you from my experience out in those situations. Now, also keep in mind we get some rain coming in tomorrow, so. Again, I love to be outdoors when those fronts are just before those fronts coming in. I love to be on the water before the front comes in. I love being in the woods before those fronts come in. There's a lot of movement. I think I know the animals sense that. So be careful. Also be careful if you get in a tree stand. Make sure you always wear that safety harness. Tomorrow, this is Chuck Carr, Crazy Convict. I'm going to give a tribute tomorrow to the late Chuck Carr, who just recently passed away. I got to know Chuck over the years, and fascinating lure maker, and he made over 10,000 of these crazy convicts, he called them. I've got a whole collection. I'm going to share that with you tomorrow and share Chuck Carr's story. So be sure and be watching tomorrow's show. Right now, let's get back to these ducks, because I want you to have a thorough understanding of ducks. Even if you're not a duck hunter, you're going to see them and be able to identify them. I want to go through these pictures. Remember, two categories of dabblers who sort of dabble around and eat good food, and the divers who eat seafood, and they just don't. That's the difference in it. You just don't eat the divers, but you love. Now, wood duck tastes great. Okay, so here's the first one. Let's go through the dabblers. A little section on dabblers. That's the wood duck right there. Absolutely beautiful duck. That was the first ducks I ever hunted back down in Liberty County in the sloughs off out of Whitehead's Fish Camp, and walking as a kid. I was just fascinated. I could sneak up on them when I was a kid. I didn't know any better, and that's the male. Remember, the male have all the color, okay? Of course, and the most popular duck in America, most abundant duck in America, of course, is the mallard, the greenhead. And again, I'm showing the males, and I've shot these years ago up at Deer Point Lake. I had one mounted, had a beautiful mount, and had it in my garage, and a cat got into it one day, tore the tail feathers off. So it's not all that pretty now, but it's still special to me. All right, then we go in, let's go the teals. We have a couple of teals. We have the blue-winged teal and green-winged teal. These are the blue-winged teal. These are real small ducks, and they fly really fast, okay? Move on. And this is, of course, the green-winged teal. Again, about the same size, and then they fly really fast, too. And then the last one I would like to show you would be some pintails here, okay? I'm sorry, I don't have the pintails. So let's go into the diving ducks. These are canvasbacks, the diving ducks. I'll show you a picture of pintails later. Diving ducks, all right, now we have a lot of these out in the bay system, the canvasbacks and the redheads. They look very similar. The canvasbacks and redheads are really, really big ducks. Here's the redheads. Obviously, you can see the difference. Same body size, same wing formation. They look a lot alike. And man, we used to have a huge flocks of these back in the early 70s out here in North Bay, and we hunted them, and we were on it. David Barnes and I, and one or two other guys, the only people ever hunted those ducks in the bay during that era, and it was just a fascinating time. Okay, we'd put out decoys and just have a great time. Let's move on into what we call the scops, the greater and lesser scops. these are abundant around here. These are fun to shoot. Here's some more shooting in here. Ringnecks. These are also bluebills and okay. And you see, they're fast moving. They're decoy really easy. They're sort of quiet. They don't quack, and you can't call them in a lot and all. And then a couple more. These are what we call the buffalo heads. These are pretty ducks. They're also found up in the sloughs and all. They're very versatile as being on saltwater and freshwater and marshy kind of water. Okay, and then the hooded merganser, again, is a pretty duck, and you can shoot these off the Apalachicola River system again. And anyway, these are the ones. The biggest thing though, the smaller the ducks, the faster they fly, and the bigger ducks. I know the Duck Dynasty program has done so much for duck hunters. Just brought duck hunters out of the woodwork over the past 4 or 5 years, and which is a good thing. And calling them in, and I didn't bring in duck callers. So you don't want to hear me call them on air and all, but it is an art to do that, and it's a satisfying thing to do to have a flock of decoys out there and to be able to call those ducks in. Like I said, we used to do it off in the North Bay area where the old airport is. There used to be that big old flight of redheads come in. I'm talking about over 1,000, and we would sit out decoys and wait for them to start moving around. And David Barnes and I just had a tremendous. I wish I'd had some videos of those days back then. That was the early years of actually duck hunting. That was back in probably 1971 or 72. And over the years, that flock sort of decreased in the 80s and 90s, and then it sort of kicked back up. But now there's just a lot of bay hunters out there, and a lot of people hunting Deer Point Lake, Lake Seminole, all up in the river system. Bill Shields loved to get on those river sloughs and get those wood ducks. Now the decoys, they have the actual decoys where the wings actually move on the side. And it's been fascinating. So, and a lot of people on decoys like to collect old decoys. So I've got some old wood decoys too. So anyway, that's just duck hunting. Opens up this weekend. If you want to get into something exciting, check out duck hunting here in Florida Panhandle. All kind of opportunities. Saltwater, like I said, in the marsh area, and up the creeks and on the lakes. I'd wrap it up. Remember, tomorrow got a big show planned for tomorrow. So you have a great day today. Do something really good for your fellow man. Enjoy the great outdoors, and God bless.
Thanks for joining us for Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors features hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.